Everybody, welcome back to the channel. And today we're getting into another dating topic. This is dating even worth it anymore? And this is coming from the perspective of women. As I mentioned in a couple of previous videos, I recently did a search in regards to the top 5 controversial or key talking discussions for men and women each. And this one was one of the key discussions that women have in regards to dating. And once again, is dating even worth it anymore? And jumping into it, it starts with saying a growing number of women, especially over 30, openly question whether romantic relationships improve their lives at all. Now, what a lot of women are saying in regards to that, or the points that are made, is that peace is greater than a relationship. Meaning, just being alone and being peaceful. Being single is less stressful. Emotional labor is exhausting. Modern dating apps feel dehumanizing. Sorry about that. Men are emotionally unavailable. So these are points that are arisen from females in terms of this kind of echo chamber and how they feel. And the reverse argument of that, and I think that this is, like I said, this whole topic is coming from women, so I don't know if this aspect of it is also coming from women, the opposing side of it. But it says, at the same time, others argue the mindset creates unrealistic standards and makes healthy compromise impossible. Discussions about burnout, therapy culture, protecting your peace, and deleting dating apps are everywhere right now, which all this is true. So I will say on one hand that I get that why that argument is being made. I do think that there are aspects that can change that mindset or where that mindset comes from. And I think a good amount of it is picking the wrong person. And I think picking the wrong person comes from the fact that we are, and I did a previous video on this, even in relation to these researched topics about the ever-changing landscape of the dating market has made it where men are trying to be the best version they can be, women are trying to be the best version they can be. And then what happens is you have this kind of arms race where the standard of things gets so high that everyone starts operating just on their base superficial level. And everyone starts getting to a point where if the men, for example, go, okay, well, women only want the guys who are the best of the best, then I'm going to try to be my best version, but their best version becomes leans towards arrogance once they work so hard to become their best version. And then what happens is that arrogance, I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying all men are like this, but I'm just using it as an example because this topic right here is debating about what OOL is a discussion from women's perspective. So the men might then go, okay, I worked so hard to become what I am now. There's this level of arrogance that it should be this way. And with that comes the woman might see a guy who they find attractive, they find charismatic and whatnot, and all these things that they think they like. But since that guy had to work so hard to become that, his mentality becomes an entitlement to be as however he wants to be in regards to that. And that might then cause where that woman feels like, all right, well, it's a headache dealing with this. But then on the flip side, as the opposing argument says in the detail of the research, had said that, some people are the mindset. And I believe when they say some people, I think they're referring to women because this was a topic for the women, that it creates an unrealistic standard. And you do see women who say this on social media and whatnot. It creates an unrealistic standard that if a woman thinks that after she's developed herself, a career, this and that, and that a guy is more exhausting to her than not because it disturbs her peace and this and that, whatever the case is, that she becomes less compromising and it becomes an unrealistic standard because now the guy's got to meet a level that's so unattainable that she's like, I don't even value, a guy on this level because he's not high enough. And then it's like, I'd rather be single. And the topic says, especially women over 30, which I think actually then opens up that another element that I previously discussed of how not only with those unrealistic standards, but it may create men to start dating someone who's actually younger. That goes into a whole other discussion, which I already did a video on before. But so that is the layout of why they might do that. And then why, what's the reverse aspect of it. Now, another flip side of it too, is that you might have women who are trying to isolate themselves from the dating world because they have these outrageous standards. But then for the women who are not like that, the women who just want something nice and peaceful, this and that, unfortunately, they get the side effects of all that. And so what happens is they might in turn also feel like they're tired of the dating market because the wrongs of one group of women, you know, maybe the ones who are a little more like out there and pushing men away and have these higher standards, are making it harder for the ones who do want like maybe this very wholesome and you know, kind and nice and you know, proper family dynamic relationship that they're not able to get, because once a certain level of evolutionary toxicity gets put into the dating pool, others react to it and evolve accordingly. And so now anyone else dealing with those partners that have evolved in that way are going to now deal with that backlash. So you do, I'm sure, have ones who don't want to deal with that, and now because of dealing with all that hardship are checking out, not because they wanted to check out, but because they're almost forced to, because others are checking out, and that messes up the dating pool. So what are your thoughts on that, you guys? As always, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.